flag, well, our war flag, big flag, red stars, still food line, salt. I like the mom to start saying that, which is something like now I'm trying to say, and which is in fact evidence of treaty. Treaty of 1767, which is indicative of our interest in the land, and also indicative of a contract which we had with foreigners, Europeans, when they got over here on the soil. So I like to give honor to that contract or that banner, and understand that a flag is different from a banner. A flag denotes nationalistic birth, going back to the traditions of the back, so it denotes nation. Whereas a banner is really showing the colors, or it could be a banner, a corporation can have a banner, KFC banner, that's just what it is. It's like an advertising, they give a contract like this is. So we talked about nationality and birthright, and nationality pretty much for the day. It's amazing to me when I go around and I talk to people. This actually question nationality, and 9 times out of 10 they don't say Negro, colored, black, African American. Even though I have become more lax and prescribed, well, you shouldn't say that, you should never say that. My thing now is understand that there are certain legal ramifications when you refer to yourself black, Negro, colored, and such.
It's under the law.
And and in fact, they have black codes still on the books. That is still enforced to this day. I recall being a youngster and seeing, as I'm sure you all have, seeing during so-called black history, they show those black and white films where the fireman is hosing down people and sicking dogs on them, and people in the crowd is throwing bricks and bottles at people. And I was like, man, why are they treating people like this? Like, it was inhumanity. They were treating them like they were less than human. And you talking about people that would, during this time, I'm sure it's still doing that, put sweaters on their dogs and let their dogs get off the table and lay and sleep with them. Okay? But here you have where they were interacting with human beings and treating them less than dirt. And I was asking myself, I was like, wow, what could allow anyone, to do that to another human being? And it wasn't until I discovered the process that I figured out. And then it was when I had that aha moment, have y'all ever had that, now I get it. Because when you look at the divine warning, it says that if you are classed as a second-class citizen, then you will be treated, mistreated, abused, and misused, or even exiled. When you look at what's going on in the prison industrial complex, you see mostly our people there. That's not by mistake. That is by design. Because, see, if they could, they would have just shipped the brothers and sisters back to the motherland, as they call it, right? But the fact of the matter is, we are indigenous to this soil. So what they do is they create what's known as debtor prison, and just throw us in. This is like something. This is worse than something worse than hell. Our people just getting, and it's mostly the brothers, that's getting locked down. So what they're trying to do is create a culture, a subculture. So it's like this. The 14th Amendment didn't allow for citizens. What it did is it created an artificial structure, whereas you can become a citizen, but not actually being acknowledged your nationality or your birthright. So, really, if you think about it, it's a form of fool's gold. Because you don't have connection to your divinity, you don't have connection to your forefathers. You're just under a certain status, artificial status, 14th Amendment status. And that's specifically what the divine warning was speaking about, talking about when he said we have to answer up to the constitutional principle. Also, on the fact that many of us believe that the Europeans created a constitution. Nothing can be further from the truth. We pull out the $1 bill, what will you see? You will see symbols, the signs of two, not one, two governments. Because I've never heard, personally, I've never heard of the pyramids being in Europe. So what that denotes is, that's significant because it denotes that you have a connection. It's been put on the dollar bills because there is a contrast between two nations. Okay, well, we have to do a little history, so let's go and backtrack. When we go, the scene is like in the 1700s, we see there's a group, there was a, first of all, let's go back to 1400s, okay, when the Moors fell.
1492.
Okay? Sort of like a chess game. When we begin to fall, then our foes begin to gain more ground. Okay? Because see, originally we were the ones that were charged to keep the 7 seas. We were the ones that regulated taxation. Nobody could eat unless we said so. Because we were the navigators. In fact, war means navigator. Ruling the 7 seas. Okay? So this is also going back during the time when, and now our understanding of the Europeans, they had been held up into the caves, for the past 4,000 years, so they just come out with it. And figuring out that the world, they got to the point where they thought the world was flat. Okay? So at least they were thinking about something then, but now, with all this information out there, there was a situation where they were going against us, and we had to go into retreat. Because, see, when they began to take over and they became into power, they didn't carry the same, they wasn't, how can I say it, amicable as we were. Because as a Christian could convert to Islam, and they would immediately be released from slavery. That's what we did in Moorish Spain. If you were my slave and you performed al-Shahada, and what that is proclaim and state that I bear witnesses that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his prophet, and before that time, we were slaves. Okay? So if you research that document. Now, vice versa, that's not the situation when the Christians came back into power. In fact, they went on expulsion. They were ready to put us out, send us away.
Spaniards.
And that's exactly what occurred. But you understand, we had the empire never set on the Moorish, the sun never set on the Moorish Empire. You know that song the Navy has from the old months to
Cut the children, yeah.
That explains the extent of our empire. That's where the Navy gets it from. Because see, a lot of that land was lost. A lot of those imperial holdings were lost when we started losing ground, especially in Moorish Spain. That's why they went on the voyages and whatnot to explore. That was the whole point. Because see, until we had failed for power, they were not allowed to do that. It wasn't until we failed for power that they were allowed to survey the area and go and see what we discovered in America. But they were already people there, and that flag is already standing. Which is where they get the story from George Washington. I cannot tell a lie. I chopped down a cherry tree. Well, that flag doesn't have the color of the cherry tree. Green, star, center, and red flag. So that's the Masonic game, to hide your history and allegory, the story. Sort of like how they do with the Haram V. Give you an example. Haram V. He was taken over by 3 brothers, hit in the heart, which took away his feelings, and he was managing. He had hit in the throat, which took away his voice, so he couldn't speak. He had no language.